yourself another round. What have you got to show for it now? Who are you fooling beside yourself? What have you got to show for it now? Who are you fooling beside yourself? When the memories of October line the ground with memories.
What is up, friends? As you can see, we're making incremental improvements every day. Ken here, so excited to be here with the lovely and talented Anna again. How are you? Welcome to the studio. Welcome back for another live for today. How are you doing? Uh-oh.
Hey.
You were muted. Are you back?
Hi, I'm doing great. Thank you. I'm glad to be here with you, Ken. I love our conversations and helping people with making money.
Yeah, exactly. And thanks again to Sarah for doing such a great job on putting our new little studio together. Claps, big congratulations. I actually have, I have my soundboard. Where is it? There you go. You won't hear that, Anna, but we've got the cheers. Thank you so much for that, Sarah, and for your hard work for putting this together and doing it on a hot deadline, which is always exciting because I was like, before we were looking at videos, you know, this is how it is when you're like looking at videos and you're like, I really like what this person is doing with their studio. We should do something like that. That's right, Code Warrior. Give her the big round of applause. I'll put that up. Thank you again. And she'll be on future episodes of the show. She's just super busy right now doing all sorts of other stuff. So next week, probably she'll start being on these. And she's obviously a part of the offer workshop. But yeah, again, thank you for that. But this always comes from, and I'm sure you've done this to people before too, where I look at something and I'm like, that person has a super cool studio setup and the things that you're doing, and I'm like, I really like what they're doing and we should do something like that. Thank you. Thank you. We appreciate that. We appreciate your hard work. We value hard work, and it's so important to do.
We appreciate being creative so that we can emulate you.
Yes. And that's why Sarah's on the team. That's why Anna's on the team. All of us are creative in our own way. Where I am the least creative is visual. But I'll look at something. Here's the problem with me. I'm one of those jerks that I know what I like and I know what I don't like, but I can't describe it to anybody. Where it's like, come up with a visual that I'll like. And I'll be like, I have no freaking idea what that would look like or how that would be. And then, but it's like, okay, I know that I hate this, so I'll have somebody waste a bunch of time doing work, and I'll be like, please do this work and do all this stuff for me, but I can't tell you what I like or don't like. And I'm sure there's lots of people that are, leaders and work with people that have that same problem, because visuals for me, it's like, it is a difficult thing. But you're also very talented at visuals, so we've got two visuals versus me.
That's why you have us, because we're talented at the visuals.
Yes.
We can just put things together, and definitely no idea. And I think that goes into our topic of what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
Like, there's no original idea.
Yeah,
like,
of course.
We all kind of emulate from all of us, and because all human beings, we think differently. I learned in TikTok a lot the past 2 years, and one of the things I learned is that people don't think the same way. Some people have a voice in their head. No, they're not schizo, but no, we're not. Some can see a whole movie. Some people don't even hear anything. It's so weird.
Exactly.
Like, some people narrate themselves. So we all are different talents, right? On how we see and feel the world. So
Yeah, I agree with that. I like how when I type in a message, it just shows 17 times in social stream. Maybe I can remove my messages so when I do that, because she's like, turn her up a little. What's funny is on my end, she is red pegging, which I'm like, okay, I guess she needs to be up louder anyway, even though it's showing you in the red on mine. But what I want to talk about today, because obviously we're talking about our workshop, and I will put that URL up on the screen in a little bit here. We're talking about our workshop, and one of the biggest things that I notice and the biggest problems that I notice is that confidence messes up your offer, or your self-esteem or self-worth messes up your offer. And if I were actually, I can put you can't hear the sounds, which is so annoying, but hold on. I have all of my soundboard over here. Oh, I don't have that one in here. All I have is the rim shot today. Where's all that's annoying. That's it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. So we'll use my kazoo sound. That's really annoying because like I am that person 100%. I am a person that for me, confidence is the biggest thing that messes up my offers. And it's a lack of confidence. So that's the first topic I want to get into is I want to talk about how a lack of confidence or a lack of self-worth messes with your offers. And so the biggest factor when it comes to that, when you're talking to somebody, is overcompensation. And I'm sure Anna will nod her head to this, that overcompensation in your offers is a killer. You will scramble trying to say, okay, I've looked across the industry, or I've looked across at what other people are doing. I understand and I'm seeing what they're doing, and I'm going to do it one step better. And this is one of the key traps I fall into all the time. In fact, I'm always honest on these. We have a package that we put together for social media management, and we're doing it right now with our good friends and partners at Speakertunity, and we're going to be launching that on our own at Now Presenting You as well too. But as we're doing this, because I want that offer to be better, and my team can hear this too, so they can go, Ken, shut up, like we're worth it. But it's like the problem I have is like I want to keep adding value. I want to keep adding value. I want to keep making it better, and I want to have it appear in a way that it's so much more valuable than what other people are doing. But the problem with that is, one, it can become overwhelming for the customer. It can become overwhelming for somebody that's considering the offer because there's like, wow, there's so many components, and their eyes start rolling back into their head a little bit. They're like, okay, I don't need all this, or I don't think that that's all the stuff that I need. But then the other thing that it does is it messes up your cost model. So the other problem is that you start realizing, wow, when I add this in, and this, we need the video editing, and we need the images, and we need this created and that created and this created. You're like, wow, me trying to offer this at this price doesn't work because all of us are going to make $4 and it's not enough. And like that doesn't work. And so then the problem is of course you're competing, like in the marketing agency in particular. This is one thing that we deal with that's super annoying, is that again, we're in competition with marketing agencies and people all over the world. And there's way different types of price scales and price structures compared to us versus a team that's operating out of the Philippines or out of India or out of that kind of thing. For those of us who are operating out of North America, it's just the reality. So coming up with that balance or figuring out offers in that way is really difficult. And you have to be confident in what you offer and the worth of that offer. And Anna, you can tell chat what you tell me all the time. What would you say about this?
I would say charge more.
Of course.
That's not enough.
Coaching me would say the same
thing. And I come from love because I've been working solopreneur for a long time. My mom and my grandma did all of their businesses also by themselves. It's hard for them to delegate. So it was hard for me to delegate. And what happens is that when we have a low self-esteem and we weren't loved, I was actually listening to Manny Rodriguez before I got into this call with you, Ken, and he was talking about how we have to love our kids. I don't even have kids, and I was agreeing. I was like, yes, that's what you have to do.
Yes.
And the same comes when it comes to your offers, your programs, your community. You gotta love on your people just like you love on the community, on your kids, because that way you build up their self-esteem. So that comes back to you. How do you get more confident about your offer? Love yourself.
Right.
Love yourself. Absolutely. Love yourself first, and start listening to what you say about money. Start listening to you. Like, I've done so many money detox mindset reprogramming because I come
Yes.
like, look, this is a third world country, El Salvador. It's still in America. We still got dollars, and yes, I've been very privileged. I accept. I recognize that I have been given the opportunities. Like, for example, some people say, "Oh, you lived in the U.S.?" And I'm like, "No."
Yep.
Why? Because your English is perfect. Why wouldn't it be? I was in school since 4 years old, and my mom would talk to me in English, and I love languages since I was a kid.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter where you're from, right? Even if you're in the Philippines, actually they're charging more actually because they've been
Yeah.
changing their money mindset. Because
Right.
just because we're in a third world country, that doesn't mean that we're not talented. That doesn't mean that you're not talented.
Yep. Exactly.
And what happens is that we kill our colleagues in the market as well when we charge low.
Yep.
And I know that all this comes from the root of confidence. So if you're not confident, it's about your self-image. It's about you.
Right.
And there's absolutely no way, I'm going to say it right now, I'm going to say it forever, that you can fix the internal with the external. Just putting more things on your offer, that's external.
Right.
No, I'll bring another speaker. I'll bring a coach. I will give them a gift. I will give and give and give and give and give. And then you just overwhelm people.
Right.
You're over giving and oversharing. And I'm sorry, but they say it's a trauma response.
Yeah, it is. It 100% is. It's everybody. It all is, this is more personal development focused, but it's all about ego. And all of us do whatever, all of our ego coping mechanisms, which are whether you overcompensate or whether you get real big or you get real small or you get real loud or you get real quiet. Everybody has their own individual reaction to it. And as I said, all of this comes out to play in offers. All of this comes out to play because all the offer is, and my mentor and coach for many years used to say, it's just an exchange of energy, like any other exchange of energy. A friendship is an exchange of energy. A sale is an exchange of energy. Getting someone's attention is an exchange of energy. It all comes from the same root, and how you operate in that regard is really important, especially for my younger entrepreneurs and my younger creators. I think they might be the worst overcompensators because, again, they're so accustomed. We were talking about this yesterday on a meeting. They're so accustomed to like, oh my God, all the information that I can access in the world is on YouTube or TikTok or all these places, and I get so much value, and therefore the issue that I have is that I get so much value off of this, so I have to be so much more and so much better. But what a lot of people, especially younger entrepreneurs, don't realize is that YouTube is disorganized chaos. This is the biggest issue with, I can go learn that on YouTube. You have to actually learn and develop a skill from YouTube, you have to have an insane amount of self-discipline, because you have to be able to do a few things. First of all, you have to evaluate a good source versus a bad source. So you have to be like, is this the right information that I'm getting? Is this the wrong information? You'll get conflicting information on almost every topic on YouTube. So everything that you look up, you'll have one person that say that something's good and then one person that say that something's bad. And they're both right. This is the worst part. They're both right because in their experience,
both things can be true. That's the worst part.
Yeah, like people will be like, okay, this is how you grow on TikTok. And then the other guy will say, well, I tried this and that didn't work, but this is what I did to grow on TikTok. And then the other person will say, no, that's stupid. I didn't do this. And they're both right because that was their unique experience. That was their individual experience of that. And so with YouTube, you have to have the discipline to cut through that, which is really difficult. It's not an easy thing, and it's not organized in any way. So it doesn't teach you, like when I used to develop courses for education, I used to develop them for nonprofits and for colleges. And obviously when you want to develop a course, you have to submit a curriculum, which is just a roadmap that says, okay, where are you going? What level is the student at? And what is your core objective for this course? What is the core thing that you want people to take away? And then obviously it's cumulative. So you're going to start somebody at what level they're at, level 1, and then move them to level 2, level 3. Like that's the way it is. And sure, yes, you can skip people in a fast way, but with YouTube, you can't do any of that. One day you could, and this happened to me because I would say that I largely taught myself music production production on YouTube. And every day I had this commitment that I was going to watch a YouTube video every day. And there's a million guys out there selling courses and teaching things just like any other market that are doing what they're doing. And I would spend entire days lost in wormholes on like YouTube holes or Wikipedia holes or research holes on advanced concepts that I didn't need to care about at one point. And then finally, one day after, this was probably 6 to 8 months into trying to develop this skill and learn this skill, somebody sent this video that was from the like 1980s, and it's the silliest thing. It's like an after school special that people are doing like super cheesy acting and like super cheesy everything. But what it was teaching was the fundamentals. It was teaching level 1. It was saying, okay, at level 1, these are the core essentials of what you need to understand. And in that, once I had that, everything else kind of snapped into place. And I went, okay, so looping back to why this matters to content creators and young entrepreneurs is YouTube doesn't do that for you, but you can. You can be someone that puts things in order. That can be the core of the value you provide. As you can say, certainly, you can go learn how to run and manage a business on YouTube. You can go learn how to build a chatbot. You can go learn how to develop a website. But here's the problem. Even if you learn those things, you're not going to know what to put on the website. So great, you've developed the skill to write a website and you put what you think would go on that website, but you don't know anything about psychology or marketing or any of that stuff because, again, you weren't taught that at that level. And so the value we provide and why we put together the memberships we do and the trainings that we do is that you can go in order. We can say you know nothing. We teach you the fundamental building block skills. And then, yes, it doesn't matter. You don't have to go out and search for it and develop your own curriculum, because what I know from experience is that 90% of people don't know how to do that. You don't have that skill. You weren't taught how to develop an educational curriculum. You weren't taught how to teach people in what order. You weren't taught a process of those kinds of things. And so again, yes, you can get a lot. I'm sure there are people out there that have amazing trainings, like multi-hour trainings, like what we teach in our offer workshop, but they're not giving you the fundamentals that we do, which is why I understand the value in that. And so that's a critical thing for anybody in that. And again, comes down to confidence. That's why you go, why am I different than YouTube? Because you are, because you understand that. You understand the order to go. You understand the order in which to teach people, right?
Well, and if you don't understand the order, that's why we're here also to help, because we don't understand the fundamentals. And that actually is something I wanted to talk about to build confidence. Like, how do we build confidence to charge more? I started charging $4 an hour. So let's talk about a little bit about my story. Sure. $4 an hour as a lead. What was it? I would get emails from people interested in buying houses, and I would have to send it to the right broker depending on the address. That was my first VA job. Okay. Back in 2014. $4 an hour. Yep. Then I went to $6 an hour. Now ask me, and it's between $80 and $100 an hour. But I don't trade my hours per dollars anymore. We don't do that anymore.
No, you package.
I've learned to create packages, and because I'm really fast. Like, I was trained at Dell and at Kudu Mobile and First American call centers, and I even got blocked on Messenger once when I was starting network marketing and I was spamming. Sorry if I spammed.
Yes, but anybody I've spammed in my life. Sorry.
Yeah, because I would be so fast, they would ask me if I was a robot. So when we develop all the skills, we build confidence. Yeah. When we listen to other people, and that's another trick, and that's going to help you with your self-esteem, because I used to have very low self-esteem. I started putting other people in my ears, other mentors, self-development, and start to listen to who I was, why I was here, why was I created. We were created for a purpose, all of us. We were created for a purpose, not all of us in the same purpose, because that would defeat the magic of all of us being the same but being different.
Of course.
So it would defeat that. But when we're starting to build our skills, we develop confidence. When we listen to other people tell us really interesting things, and I started learning neuroscience, and obviously not like a scientist, but psychology and all that. I'm obsessed with it. And that started helping me heal and my money mindset, my poor mindset. And I'm still working on it. We're
Of
still
course.
working on it as a partnership right now, as our with our services and our packages. We're gonna keep having different conversations about this, and we're
Of
probably gonna
course.
be raising our prices. So
Of
you've been
course.
warned. You've been warned.
Yes, this workshop won't be free forever. That's something
No,
that's
I was
very
just
true.
listening to
Yes.
Manny Rodriguez. He
Yes.
charged 1997 for his conference
Right.
in
Right.
San Diego. I'm just saying.
Well, and that's what this workshop used to cost. And for me, the reason we do this for free isn't a confidence thing. The reason that we do this for free is because we want you to experience what we do, so you will stay in our community. So for us, it's intentional because again, I know that
That's
for
our
most people,
agenda.
yeah,
We're
that's what we
transparent
want.
about our agenda.
Right. And so, well, and I love that. I love being transparent about that and saying like, okay, this is what we do. Because again, we want you to work with us long term. We want you to have an ongoing relationship with us. And you can't have that if you don't know what you're doing or where you're going or why we're doing it. Because it's the same for me. Like I've always had the same issue, and packaging and bundling was actually the same for me, that I had to learn that skill. And that's something that I learned years and years ago, to understand like what is the value, because not every hour has the same value. Like for example, if I'm in a very heavy coaching mastermind with you, and I'm going through your websites and I'm going through your copy and I'm looking at your business model and I'm doing all that, that hour is worth a hell of a lot more than the time where I'm going through an email of yours or I'm setting up a basic web page or something. Like those hours have different values because the amount of brain power and thinking and time and effort and energy that goes into it is so different.
If you make me use my brain to
Yes.
give you $1 million idea,
Mm-hmm.
guess how much it's gonna cost?
Yep. And
A lot.
that's exactly true. And then with this, so I want to speak before we wrap up today about the other side of this, because as we're talking about, there's another downside that when it comes to offers, and that downside is actually overconfidence. Because here is one thing that I see often, and it's an exercise we do that busts a lot of people when we do the workshop. Like it busts them and stops them in their tracks, because whenever you make a promise, which is something you're going to learn to do if you don't know how to do it. Whenever you make a promise that by the end of working with me, you will, my product, program, or service will do X, Y, Z, I make you back it up. So what we do is we say specifically, if you tell someone you're going to teach a skill, how are you teaching them that skill specifically? What are you doing? Is there curriculum that does that? Is there training? Is there a tool or resource? Is there a way that you're going to teach it? Like I teach this in week 1. You know, like when we have our upcoming video course, for example, we know in week 1 we're going to teach you how to do research. So when we say you will understand how to research trends and you will understand, you know, how to work within the TikTok structure or YouTube or that kind of thing, that is something we can back up. So any promise you make, you need to be able to back up. And it is a crime almost in the training industry how many people make promises that they never intend to back up. Like they never will say, I make this promise. Yes, and that's why I brought it up, because I feel the same way. It's part of why we do the way we do it. But it's like, don't make promises you can't keep. Because once you've upset somebody, this is the funny thing. Like, it's easy to get people on board with you and on your side, easier than you think, actually. But once you have an enemy or someone that you've done wrong to, and I'll tell stories about that on future calls where I'm happy to get on here and talk about screw ups and things that I've done wrong. But the thing is like, once you've created an enemy or someone that dislikes you, that poisons the well for more than just you. That's the thing. Because that person has connections. You never know who is behind them or who they're talking to, right? Like, and people, everybody in this industry, I can tell you, Anna and I both know they all talk. So we know
all talk, and we talk
who
about
doesn't do
our
it.
experiences working
Yep.
with each other, because
Yep.
we want to stay away from toxic. I am so sorry.
Yeah.
But if you're gonna be toxic, if you're gonna be yelling, if you're listening to me, whoever yelled at me, I'm talking
Yeah.
about you. Like,
Yes.
hello, like we cannot be disrespectful. One thing I appreciate my parents teaching me since I was young is that you treat everybody with respect, no matter their job that they do,
Yes.
what level they're at, because you don't know what life is gonna throw at you and when they're gonna need you and when you're gonna need them.
100%.
Like, do not do that. Like it overconfidence actually sometimes goes into the narcissistic
Agreed.
way of like trampling over everybody just to get what you want and charging
Yes.
all this amount of money and then not delivering
Yep.
on that promise, on that guarantee, not even promise, a guarantee, the audacity,
That's the
a
worst.
guarantee, like the audacity. No.
Well, and what's worse, here's the thing. Here's the good news about this that I will say is you can fix it. If you mess these things up, believe me, I have messed things up over the years that are rookie mistakes when I was 12 years into the business, or I've done stupid
I've messed up too. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, like we all mess up and there's space to mess up. That's not a problem at all. The bigger issue is if you don't make it right. Like I'm dealing with somebody right now who won't make it right for somebody, where it's like this person is probably entitled to a refund. Like you said, you were going to do a certain thing and then you're not going to do it. And then it's like, okay, well, if it's your fault, admit it. Be like, okay, it's my fault. I screwed it up. Like great example for me. I will pull back the curtain. A couple of years ago, I went, and we'll talk about this on future calls. Actually, I'm about to be part of a book. I haven't even told you this. I'm about to be part of a book about this. I had a great meeting yesterday where we talk about stories of courage and like overcoming things. And I went through a period over the past few years where I lost a huge portion of my family. Almost all of the adults in my family passed away within the past 5 or 6 years. And my head was messed up from it. Like how would you not be? Like there's no nice way to say that. Like you lose that much, like your head is messed up. And I had a period of time where I was trying to launch a training with somebody, and it just like the way that the work relationship worked is that the partner that I was launching with was really working hard and didn't have a lot of time to devote to what we were doing. It's not his fault. It's just he was busy as hell. And he's like, I don't really have a lot of time to do the course development. I had taken that on, and I was at a point, mentally, which grief does this, and everyone needs to understand that about grief, where I would like stare at the computer screen and just nothing would come out. And for me, that's ridiculous. Anybody that knows me knows like I'm constantly like, it's so easy to create for me. And just in that energy, it was just not there. And so we had one person that bought that program, and it's like they bought it and they waited and they waited and they waited. And as again, on my side, my perspective is great because on my side, like I'm cleaning out my father's house. I'm watching all of his stuff get thrown in dumpsters. I'm dealing with family problems. Like every day I'm in this horrible grief-stricken state of, planning memorial services and all that. And it sucks. And it's like, and yet here I am, I made this promise to somebody, and it's like we just couldn't deliver on it in the end. It's funny because I was looking at it when we fired up all the social pages and looked at what we were doing for momentum and stuff before, which I want to talk about that too. One big thing we're going to talk about in the future on this or Clubhouse is failure, because I've got a failed business behind me, and I want to talk about that for sure.
Stories as well that you gotta own up to it, and what's the difference here between building back your reputation and your confidence when you've screwed up is accepting it and changing, not just sending a huge ass essay of apology, actually changing your behavior, because if not, that's manipulation and people will feel that vibe.
Yeah, I like that. There's a saying, I can't remember.
Exactly. Like, oh my gosh, like you're having so much problems, Ken, in your personal life, and grief will come and hit you.
Oh,
and sometimes it will hit you like waves. Like I always say, like it's like the ocean, it comes and goes.
Yep.
And sometimes you know that it's coming, and sometimes you have no idea, like anything can trigger you. And sometimes, we just have to be honest. And that brings me back to our topic and confidence and their workshop, right? Where we accept it, acknowledge it, and when we try to change it and make it better, be better every day, people will realize that.
Yeah, 100%. And just be willing to admit it. Like in that point, just be willing to admit it, which I think a lot of people aren't. Like a lot of people are afraid. Oh, hold on. I want to say this. Tony Sandoval, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. So nice to see you. He did tons of personal development work with me back in the day. Super cool dude. I want to pull this up. So balance. I had a client because I was confident, comfortable with my job. She decided to hire someone else, obviously in order for the client to be in control. So I become more humble and appreciative. Hell yeah. Like you
Yeah.
have to. And again, as I said, this on the spectrum when it comes to offers, that's the big issue, because it's like there's underconfidence and there's overconfidence. And what you brought up yesterday, that's such an important point, is that sometimes the situation changes. Like you're really confident in something. Like here's a great example. I taught Facebook ads courses for years. I've spent well into the 10 figures or the 10 digits on ads. I've spent tens of millions of dollars on ads working with teams before. And it changes overnight. And so I'll have a whole course where it's like, this is the way that it works. And then you have like the iOS update. And it's like, everything that I taught was wrong. My skills out of this are totally out of date. Like all of a sudden you find yourself going, wow, I'm pushing 40 and all these skills that I spent years and years developing, now I got to learn from scratch, because that's just the way the technology works. And the way that you do it now doesn't work. And you always have to reset. Yeah, it does. It does.
Being in tech, it humbles you to always keep learning, to always keep leveling up your skill. And that always builds confidence. And, you know, like, when something goes wrong, like you said, admitting it, right? And being honest with your audience, like this translates to everything, right? Tell them don't over explain, because that's a trauma response. Again, I'm learning. This is for me too. Don't worry. I'm telling myself.
Every piece of feedback you give yourself. Of course, we all know this.
Like, and I've been learning so much because as a Latina, we're oversharers.
Yes.
And I have to like bring myself back. I'm like, no, this person doesn't need to know the whole explanation. It's none of their business. Right. Like, and so like have that filter. Like, is this somebody's business or just my business? Right. But be honest, like technology failed in a tech thing. Great. We have an opportunity to send another email.
Right.
See it as a positive thing, right? Like when you screw up, see what you can, learn from it. And that's going to help you with your offers too. Like that's why we say don't over promise and under deliver. Always under promise and over deliver.
100% agreed. And the other thing I could say, one other thing about confidence that I'll say, the more that you put it out there, just the better people you attract. Like, let's just be real. Because one thing that I notice, and it's really noticeable for me, is over the years, I have been in thousands of workshop rooms, legit thousands of workshop rooms. And you know who shows up when you've got something big going on? Like, who shows up when you've got something big? Thank you, Tony. I appreciate you hanging out. And you're awesome. Good to see you. And beyond that, what I would also say, though, is you will know who the great people are by seeing who sticks around. Like when we're doing something new like this, you'll see who sticks around, who supports you, who wants to help you, who's on your team and who's on your side. And when you do what you just said, when you underpromise and overdeliver and you're always focused on that value, you're always focused on the experience for the person, what ends up happening is those people come back and they stick around. Like I've had clients, great example, when COVID started and the pandemic was raging, like I went from an active client load of something around 14 or 15 to 2. Like overnight, it was like 2. Like everybody had to shut down their marketing budgets. Nobody knew what the future was. Like it was like nobody knew it was happening. And yet what started to happen, because again, how I commit to my business and how they are, a lot of those folks are starting to show up again. Like now that it's over and their businesses are coming back and everybody's rebounding and those kinds of things, like you can tell when you value the relationship and you provide what you say you're going to provide. Like we mentioned this yesterday. We have a fantastic workshop coming up with one of those people, Masha, who teaches this amazing leadership content. And so it's like, again, you got to factor that in with your offer and understand like how you treat people really matters. Even if it's online product, the promises you make and how you treat people really matters. And you don't have to do the hypey stuff. You don't have to overdo it. You don't have to put it out there. And at the same time, a lot of times that sabotages you. If you're really trying hard to be somebody that you're not, that's just a terrible thing to do. Like just because you see, Tony Robbins does it a certain way, or a certain speaker does it. That's him. Yeah.
That's him.
And you don't have to do that.
Jumping and hugging all the time.
No, I'm not that type of person either. Like I'm a high energy person, but in a different way. Because to me, like I have to admit, like it's hell to drag me into a personal development workshop because most of the time I don't want to be there. And in fact, the best ones I went to were very, very well presented in the sense that you were always on that. Like I can't. Like hype just drives me crazy. Like I can't do it. And I understand for some people they need it, they need that boost of energy, but for me, it's like that style of workshop does nothing for me. And it does nothing for a lot of younger entrepreneurs either. Like a lot of younger entrepreneurs, like there's been this, I kind of laugh, and I don't know if you've noticed this too, there's been kind of this backlash at times against Gary Vee with the whole hustle culture and all that shit. And it's like,
I've been in that back and forth with him. I was a
Yeah.
lover, then was a hater because I'm a girl. I have to be in my feminine. I cannot be on hustle mode because then my creative doesn't work. But I learned how my human design and all this. And now that he's talking about other things, I'm a lover. I don't know. I
Yeah.
love him again. I don't know for why.
It's funny, but I just bring that up because again, it's like there's always tides and backlashes and these things and those things that happen, and that all makes sense. But again, you got to be who you are. It's like you're not for everybody. Your offer's not for everybody. We talk about this in a lot of the TikToks, and that's okay. Don't try to be the closer that you get to who you are. Like for me, one great example, this is the last one, and then we'll wrap for today because we've been going for a while. But one of the biggest examples is when I worked, in the biggest speaking roles that I did, it was insisted upon me that I look a certain way. It's like, the got to keep that. Yeah, you got to have a certain look and a certain thing to represent this brand. And for me, over when COVID started, and we'll talk about health and all that stuff because I had major health issues, and COVID was an especially scary thing for me because I'm like, I've had lung problems in the past. If I get this, I was terrified of it. So I started growing my hair out. I'm like, not going to get my hair cut, not going anywhere. And at the same time, I was working on music and going for that look. And nowadays, I'm sure some speakers or some people would look at me and go, oh my God, dude, you and the long hair. Like that you can't be a trainer with long hair. You got to look this way, you got to look that way, and you got to stand in front of a Lamborghini, and you got to be like, this is my success life, and blah blah blah. And it's funny because one of the trainings I want to do, like I'm always springing this stuff on Anna, and she's like, shut up. But it's like, I'm springing this. It's like
another thing.
No, I have a million things I want to do because Sarah and I have been promising for years and years we were going to do a training on burnout. And I want to talk about how I built nearly a 7-figure business, which I'm very fortunate to have built, that almost drove me into a grave. And I hated it. It was horrible. I personally gained almost nothing from it. And, a lot of other people got benefits in my life from it. But it's like, yeah, we were kicking ass and all the while it was making me miserable. And so I'm not one of those people that's always like, you got to always do what's passionate. Like, yeah, we all got to do stuff in our business we don't want to do and we don't like. But at the same time,
boring stuff.
Yeah, you don't want to create a business that's a prison. You don't want to create a business that's a job. You don't want to create offers that you hate to fulfill. Like when you have to pick up the phone, if you're dreading to pick up the phone and talk to somebody, don't do it. And you got to find a different way. You got to do it. And
don't do it. And also let's take a little bit from Tony Robbins. Sometimes it's just we're tired and the call revitalizes us. So maybe get some energy up, go do some dancing, jumping jacks, something to bring your energy up. If that's what you really, you enjoy it. You're just sometimes dreading some things because we've been having, again, other things and life happens, right? Health problems, family things, anything can happen. So when we are, like you said, dreading most of the things on our offer, that's not the right offer. Of course, you're not going to have confidence. And with that, I want to tell you something about the workshop and about how intentional we are with helping you do what, like you said, something that is happy for you, like in your happy place, and you're excited to deliver. And it's all about you. And we're going to help you make it clear because you're going to be able to explain it and we're going to guide you through it. It's not us teaching all day.
Right.
We're not going to be just rambling like this all day. We promise you that.
No, if you want to watch us ramble like this is where you watch us. You get on Clubhouse, you get on here. This is where we ramble like this.
Exactly. This is where we're going to throw so many gold bombs that you're going to be like, oh my God, I need to take notes. I got to go listen to that again. Because, our combined experience is besides, work and also like your personal lives, we understand where you're coming from. And sometimes we're very confident about our offer. It's probably you have the best offer ever and you're making multiple millions of dollars, but you're miserable.
Right.
Maybe it's time to revise that offer. Come, let's revise it. Let's check it out. Let's dissect it all. Let's put it all together and ask ourselves why we're doing what we're doing. Because
Yeah.
if it's not out of love, I said this before, and I'm always going to say it, if it doesn't come from love, then you're not going to be confident. And
Right.
I always say, like, if my product, I can't be product of the product. I learned this in network marketing. You see
Yeah.
this is my water filter. If I cannot be product of my product, helping my mom out, drinking alkaline water for over 10 years, this is why my skin looks like it looks. Just saying. But if I cannot be product of my product, then I cannot sell my product. This is why it's so hard for a lot of people in network marketing, in their content creation. It's like, oh, I'm just creating content randomly without a purpose.
Right.
That's why you're not passionate about it, because you're not product of your own product.
Yep. Exactly. Exactly true.
Yeah. So
And I love that.
That's going to give you confidence. So that's it for me today.
Bye. No, I'm just kidding. I would do that on other things. I'm just kidding. The thing is you should know this about me, because I'm a fan of that. When we've done podcasts and stuff for years, is sometimes when Sarah would say a line like that, or somebody would do that, I'd just be like, bye, and just end the show. It's like, here we go, cuts a logo. But before we go, as I said, if you are not registered yet for the workshop, for the offer workshop that's coming up, it's next Wednesday. It is free. Nowpresentingyou.com/workshop. And I promise you, again, after doing this, and I want to get on some other people to talk about their stories on these calls in the future, but I know that this is the type of workshop, again, that you would spend thousands of dollars for somewhere else. And the reason we want to do this for you is this is a huge problem for a lot of people, and we want you to see exactly what we do and what our process is, so that you can understand it, understand the impact that it'll have on you. So again, go over, register, nowpresentingyou.com/workshop. Next Wednesday, we will be at it all day. There are already some amazing participants signed up for this. There are a few people in here that are, borderline professional level speakers and business owners themselves already registered for this. So there's going to be a great team. You're going to get great perspective and feedback. And all of us are here to do that. And whether you realize it or not, this is one key thing about the workshop. You have something to offer, whether you realize it or not. Whether you realize like your feedback is important to somebody. And if you're willing to tell the truth and let people know, like, this doesn't work for me, or this doesn't resonate for me, or this really does, like, this really gets my attention, then you will be helping someone else in that workshop, which is really the key for this and the brilliance of the experience. So I'm so excited to do this. Nowpresentingyou.com/workshop. Anna, thank you. We will be back tomorrow, roughly around the same time, around 1:30. And as you can see, we'll keep improving a little bit every day. Thank you so much. If you're watching this, if you're watching this on the replay, you can register from there too. Or if we're seeing you somewhere else, that's great. Have a great one. Nowpresentingyou.com/workshop. Bye.